Proceeds to sick bay. The doctor should look at it as soon as possible.
It is the way in which we propagate our species. Please demonstrate how this is accomplished. So, what's next? I don't know.
Hi, and welcome to Casual Trek, a Star Trek recap and ranking podcast brought to you by Nerd and Tie and Badgie. It's like Clippy, but it hates you. So it is like Clippy. I'm Charlie Etheridge Nunn, a writer and a fan of Herbert West, Reanimator.
And I'm Mars Reed Lobato, a science fiction writer and a fan of The Question, the only thing tangentially Ayn Rand related which I actually personally approve of.
I mean, there's Bioshock as well, I guess, but that's more a critique.
I mean, Bioshock allows me to blow up objectivists, so, does that really count?
Whether it does or doesn't, it's a lot of fun.
Okay, fair enough. And so, Charlie, who are we and what do we do?
Well, we watch... we're Casual Trek, and we watch stories from 3 different Star Trek shows based around a similar theme, and we rank them on our big list of best to worst. And while we both love Star Trek, it's far from our first fandom, so this makes us the ultimate objective voice on such a task. This episode, we're returning to a favourite actor. No, it's not Patrick Stewart. No, it's frankly not anyone with a main character credit. It's one Jeffrey Allen Combs.
I thought we were going to be doing John Shrapnel.
No, alas, I don't know if John Shrapnel ever did Star Trek. He should have, though.
As Brian Blessed also should have.
Yes, and I actually only saw Reanimator for the first time a couple of weeks ago.
I actually want to show Rihanna Reanimator. It's a film she's not seen, and I'm slowly, building up her horror backlog. We did watch 28 Days Later because we want to see 28 Years Later.
Oh God, yeah.
28 Days Later, it was first of all, still holds up. Second of all, there was a point where Ree asked me if I was feeling homesick yet. And I'm like, with the desolate London, not particularly. But when they get to the soldiers in the third act, and the soldiers just talk like stupid British men in their 20s, I was like, right, now I'm homesick.
Oh, yeah, I watched it as part of going through the Nature Trail to Hell kind of Living Dead series and spin-offs, and it's good fun. I avoided it when I was a kid because I read H.P. Lovecraft and was like, it's Stuart Gordon, it's going to be schlocky, it's going to be a bit shit, and it is schlocky and it's a bit shit, but it's very fun.
Out of films based on Lovecraft stories, I think it's one of the better ones, although I do have a soft spot for the 70s Dunwich horror, where Dean Stockwell, Al from Quantum Leap, plays Huber Whately.
Oh, okay.
And he has a fantastic porn stash.
Wow. I bet he would. But yeah, while we are talking about Jeffrey Combs, we're not talking about the works of one H.P. Lovecraft. So, Mars, before we talk about Trek, what non-Star Trek thing have you been enjoying since we last spoke?
A few Sundays ago, Rihanna and I went to the movies and to see the new Wes Anderson film, The Phoenician Scheme. It's kind of set after the Second World War, and it's about this business mogul who is this real kind of con artist, and along the way he goes on a journey, and I'll be honest, everyone in the cast threatens to steal the show. Even Bill Murray, who only turns up for one scene, for his contractually obligated Wes Anderson scene, nearly steals the show. But it might be Michael Cera, who plays a Belgian, who steals the show with an accent that would put David Suchet's Hercule Poirot to shame.
Wow.
And then there's Richard Ayoade, who is playing a rebel guerrilla, but he's still doing the Richard Ayoade voice. So it always, whenever I see him act in like a film, when he's doing, he has that very kind of distinctive way of speaking. When he's playing a gorilla and waving a gun around, I just think it's him as Dean Lerner in Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Of course.
But I'll be honest, I think at this point, if you're a Wes Anderson fan, you'll love it because, he, whatever you feel, he always brings something interesting to the table.
Yeah, I'm a Wes Anderson liker. I tend to pick up one out of every, 3 or so things he does, because he's good, but enough of his work is samey enough, I figure, sometimes it's like, I've only just seen one. I'll catch up at some point one day. Did
you see Asteroid City?
No.
Okay, I do recommend Asteroid City, the one he did, the film he did before.
Yeah.
I know he did those short films on Netflix, which I still haven't seen. I do recommend, I think you would like the Asteroid City, because like me, you are pretentious, despite the fact you like to portray yourself as communist muck.
Wow, I pretend nothing. I'm really this much of a snob.
Because you and Mike, we're very similar, in which we're like, oh yes, I enjoy the symbolism of this Bertolt Brecht play, and immediately turn around and go, all right, mine's a pint, mate.
Wow. Oh dear. God, such shots fired and barely into the episode. Wow. I mean, I can't refute any of this, but yeah, mine's a cheap whiskey and Coke rather than a pint. But yeah, otherwise.
Yeah, okay. I apologize for getting your drink order wrong. Everything else, I'm not taking off the table.
You're unrepentant in, of course.
Yeah. You know how I talk to Sean. You know what I'm like with my friends.
Oh yes,
I'm British.
I assume it took Sean a while to realise this.
I think it was after the point where I picked him up and carried him under my arm, like John Cleese carrying Andrew Sachs in that one episode of Fawlty Towers.
Wow. Okay. I hope that isn't a wider statement about the relationship you two share.
No, it's just a one-off time.
Oh, good.
And Charlie, what about you?
Well, I, through not much planning, ended up having a bit of a John Wick end.
Oh.
Last week. So on Saturday, a bunch of former writing buddies and I saw John Wick 2 and 3 in a bit of a recurring film night that we've started to do. As we showed some of them for the first time, John Wick 1, a little while ago. And we had 2 and 3 lined up. And then on Friday, my partner was saying about wanting to see The Ballerina and not being sure how much longer it's going to be in cinemas. So yeah, we ended up watching that, which was good fun. It felt a little more slapstick in some ways than some of them, but perfectly of a piece with the other John Wicks. There is a fight with a lot of grenades being thrown. There's a flamethrower versus flamethrower fight. And yeah, it was overall good fun. It added to the lore of the world without feeling a need to explain stuff, which is one of the key things I like about the John Wick universe, that there's a lot of lore that we don't really examine because we're busy with these folks shooting each other, generally under fairly bisexual lighting in nightclubs where no one notices that half a dozen people have been loudly shot to death right in front of them. They just keep dancing.
I don't think you could say that about a lot of nightclubs in Brighton.
Yeah, maybe. And yeah, I also found my reading infected by this as I was reading recent printing of Kill Them All by Kyle Starks, which is I love Kyle Starks anyway, but this is a graphic novel about an ex-cop and an assassin who was burnt out of her organization by a vengeful ex-boyfriend who lied about her being a snitch. and both of them are killing their way up through this criminal organization's building, and it's gloriously over the top. It's a ludicrous story, and if you want John Wick but a bit funnier, yeah, Kyle Starks' comics like Kill Them All, Assassin Nation, and Sex Castle are just perfect reads.
I've still only seen John Wick 1. I keep meaning to watch the other films. And I admit, I went in fairly blind as to what the film was about. I just knew there was a guy, he had a dog dead, kill rampage. So when you have the bit in the first film where Theon Greyjoy has confessed to his father what he's done, and his father just sits him down and goes, right, I am going to tell you everything about how you just done fucked us.
Yeah.
And there was just this massive grin just spreading on my face as I'm like, this is going to be the greatest pass. You're like, John Wick, we called him the Baba Yaga. He once killed a man with a pencil. There was just this big grin on my face when this little 14-year-old boy in me just went, this is going to be the greatest fucking movie of all time. Move over, Citizen Kane. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
The film delivered.
Oh, it was so much fun. I know some folks say it peaked at number one, but the ludicrousness just escalates and gets kind of beautiful. Like there's definitely a lot more neon as it goes along. And in number 3, one of his main enemies is actually his number one fan. And that makes the interaction even better. Of like, oh no, he's slightly cringeworthy as a fan, but is also this really terrible, like this really awful hitman who's like murdered so many people.
Like, John Wick kind of reminded me of the original Star Wars, in which it just sets up this larger universe that, you know, in just a way that so many films try and emulate, but never kind of pull off because they're always kind of self-consciously got the eye on the franchise, which, you know, I feel is one of the problems with the film The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, which there is just so much going on in that film that first time around it is almost incomprehensible. But here in John Wick, it's like, yeah, there's a secret order, there's a secret society of assassins. They have their own currency. They have their own like cleanup detail. They have like a special hotel run by Lance Reddick, and for some reason Lovejoy is there because you know no matter how many Deadwoods or fucks he does on other shows, I'm always going to look at Ian McShane and see Lovejoy from the 90s.
See, for me, he's still our Al Swearingen, and yeah, it's while each of the films will add to the lore, they will so rarely ever bother explaining it. It's great. I love it.
I think that's like the best thing. It's like, again, why the original Star Wars, like, oh yeah, what's the Force? Oh, the Force is this energy field, which is like kind of a Zen thing. But like, we don't need to really explain the inherent natures or the dichotomies of the Force. It's like, okay, what's the Imperial Senate? The Imperial Senate no longer concerns us. We just abolished it. What's a Dark Lord of the Sith? Oh, we don't mention it in any of the original 3 films. It's in all the comics and books a bunch, but we never actually mention it until the prequels.
Oh, dear. Well, moving swiftly away from Star Wars talk, swiftly and tactfully away from Star Wars talk, let's talk a bit about Jeffrey Combs. No.
Okay, fine.
No midichlorian chat. So, our first episode of the evening is Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 5, Episode 19, titled Ties of Blood and Water. This aired on the 14th of April 1997 with a teleplay by Robert Hewitt Wolfe, story by Edward Newton and Robin L. Slocum, directed by Cisco himself, Mr. Avery Brooks. The UK number 1 hit was R. Kelly's I Believe I Can Fly, and the US had Elton John with Candle in the Wind 1997 / Something About the Way You Look Tonight. what a pair of tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't keen on either of these.
I mean, I Believe I Can Fly is fine. I have, zero, it's a nice song. Candle in the Wind. For those of our audience who aren't British, which is 90% of you, in 1997, Princess Diana died in a car accident in France. I remember it's quite funny because I woke up that Sunday morning. My parents were getting ready to go to a computer show for my stepfather's job, and so I wake up at 6:00, and the first thing they tell me is Princess Diana died in a car accident, and my brain is still processing. It's like, what? Yeah, Princess Diana died last night in a car accident. We're off for the day. You're by yourself. Bye. And
Wow.
there was nothing on TV because all the channels were just superseded by coverage of I feel like the death of Princess Diana was the first true 24/7 media event. And I think the first thing that was on TV really worth watching was, ironically, an episode of Star Trek Voyager, because that still showed on Sundays on BBC Two.
Wow. My brother and I found out we were staying at my dad's and had rediscovered the Commodore 64. And we're going through some of our childhood joys, and we had a cartridge that could do text to voice. So when we saw it on the TV before tuning it into the Commodore, we summoned my dad into the lounge. I can't remember if it was and his girlfriend as well, but had the Commodore announce it to him.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So yeah, anyway, yeah, it's
this was the song that Elton John put out as a moment of healing for a wounded nation about the fact that Princess Diana died and we're all supposed to be sad. Looking back on it, I'm glad I was not back in England when the Queen finally died, because I think I would have immolated myself, because I'll be honest, from the outset, it looks like overnight the entire country just turned into a J.G. Ballard novel.
An amount of it certainly did, yeah. And yeah, with R. Kelly, I've seen Space Jam once, I think, during lockdown, and it felt quite overrated.
I have never seen Space Jam.
I did, however, used to love the remix to Ignition, and the good news is, if you like the tune of that, then Tessa Violet's Crush will do just as well, and it's not by R. Kelly, so
that's always good. I'm still surprised that Elton John didn't re-release the song when the Queen died. It could have been him and Ed Sheeran again.
I'd have loved it if he had them queued up, like, for each royal. There's a new version of Candle in the Wind.
Do you think with Charles it's just a collection of raspberry noises?
I was going to say exactly that. It's not actually a tune. It's just blowing a raspberry. But yeah, wow. Great minds.
We have strong feelings of the monarchy on this podcast.
We do.
I do actually have one last thing to say about the Phoenician scheme.
You can't tell that we're trying to put off talking about this episode, can you?
I mean, it's a good episode, but it's a bit heavy. All the trailers I saw before the Phoenician scheme were all films I kind of wanted to watch. Except one, which I realized very soon on was yet another Downton Abbey movie. Downton Abbey, the final chapter.
I thought they'd already done a final chapter.
No, there's another one. It's, I don't know, Downton Abbey for the Revenge, where the house comes to life and tries to kill them. I'm sure.
Oh, cool! Finally,
like Michael Caine's in it. It's all going to be very. No, Michael Caine's not going to be in it.
Oh.
When I found out that what we were watching was Downton Abbey, I generally sit in the back row of movies because,
like a cool kid.
Oh yeah, so I can smoke cigarettes and make out with my girlfriend, and I was just sitting there, just kind of double flipping the bird to the screen. And then when the title came up, I did something I uncharacteristically very rarely do and shouted, "Abolish the British monarchy. They're a bunch of lazy wankers." in a crowded cinema.
Wow. Did you get applause or?
I got laughs, which I feel
Okay.
like in America is the proper response to Two Kings and Monarchs.
Fair.
So, Charlie, this episode of Star Trek.
Yeah! So, Star Trek, back onto the point. Ties of Blood and Water. Mars. I believe you're recapping it. So, you have 5 minutes, starting now.
A Cardassian dissident called Techni Gamor is coming to DS9 and Kira wants the red carpet rolled out for him. Once, a few seasons back, Kira was kidnapped by the Cardassians, surgically altered to look like Gamor's lost daughter as an attempt to flush out his betraying the Cardassian government, so he became a sort of surrogate father figure to Kira. We've not gotten to the episode, which is Second Skin, Deep Space Nine, Season 3, Episode 5. But Techni arrives, and he gives Kira a hug, and Kira gets to smile, and it's really sweet. Actually, Worf muses that it's kind of wrong for Kira to be friendly with a Cardassian, but as Dax says, you should have seen her 5 years ago. I didn't think she'd be friends with anybody. As Techni is escorted to his quarters, Kira tells him that they've still not found his daughter Liana, but he's come to terms with the fact that his daughter is probably dead, and Kira is the closest thing he has to family. Unfortunately, Techni has some bad news for Kira. They'll have to find a different person to lead the Cardassian dissident movement against the Dominion-Cardassian alliance. He's dying of Yaren Fel syndrome. Yaren Fel sounds like a Jedi Master from the Star Wars prequel series. Bashir checks him out. There might be some treatments, but there's not much hope. Gul Dukat messages Cisco, demanding that Techni Gamor be returned to Cardassia to answer for his crimes. Cisco tells Dukat that since the Federation has no extradition treaty with Cardassia, and they don't recognize the current Cardassian government, Gul Dukat can suck it. This might be the best day of Cisco's life. Meanwhile, Techni is having fun holding Yoshi, Miles O'Brien and Keiko's baby that Kira had to carry for them as a surrogate. To quote Cerebro, don't worry about it. Techni asks Kira about her life and settling down, maybe with that wet blanket Shakar. Kira is annoyed that Techni was having people follow her, but the thing is, she's a public figure. Like it or not, she's made an impression, and that she should be proud of her actions. He is. Aww. Kira tells Techni that Dukat wants him extradited alive. He's still a threat, but they're not going to give him up. Techni reveals that he knows a huge number of secrets about the Cardassian government. There's an old tradition that a dying Cardassian gives him their secrets to their children as leverage against their enemies, and he wants Kira to be his daughter one last time so that he can give her everything he knows. Cisco, despite how callous this sounds, knows what a boon this would be to Starfleet intelligence, and Kira feels that she's not the right person, fearing that she doesn't have what it takes. She starts to have a series of flashbacks to the death of her own father back during the occupation. Cisco asks if she's up to it, but she has no real choice in the matter. Now made as unmasked comfortable as he can be, a tired Techni is ready to get started, but almost immediately the pain gets too much for him, but he wants to remain conscious and starts to give up the information. In Kira's flashbacks, her father was badly wounded and needs a medic, but when her father asks her to stay, Kira looks visibly awkward at doing so. Kira gives her first batch of information to Cisco, exhausted after being up for 30 hours, but Bashir calls her back. The treatment isn't working, and Techni, despite that, wants to keep going, which is when the Cardassians arrive! Gul Dukat has arrived with a Jem'Hadar battlecruiser to get Techni, and he's locking weapons on Deep Space Nine. Invited aboard the station, Gul Dukat brings along Weyoun. Oh hey, isn't he dead? Oh no, this is Weyoun 5. Turns out all the Vought are actually clones. Dukat wants Techni to come home and be treated for his condition. Techni has a week to live, and he tells Dukat and Weyoun to screw off. But Dukat has a proposal. He's found his daughter and where to find her, but again, Techni doesn't like the company he keeps and is adamant on staying on Deep Space Nine. They'll leave him alone for now, but the ship is going to remain docked in case he changes his mind. He won't. Kira keeps caring for Gamor, staying by his bedside and caring for him as he divulges his secrets, but it's getting too much for her. Later, in her quarters, Dukat drops by with Ganor's military record, claiming that he was responsible for a massacre during the occupation. Kira responds by throwing a glass in his face and telling him she'll make him pay. But she does read the record, and as Ganor's condition worsens, Kira's mood has also worsened. It turns out that the stuff about him being part of the Kiesa monastery massacre was true. He justifies it at the time as being an act of war, but he regrets that. But it's too much for Kira, and she leaves him furiously. In Quarks, Weyoun is enjoying the pleasures of gambling. Cisco arrives with a bottle of Canard, insisting Ducat drinks. Turns out this bottle was delivered to the Gnor's quarters, and it's very poisonous. Ducat...
Ooh. Time up! Time to drink the poison drink.
Microplastics.
Lovely. Right, carry on.
Ducat won't drink, but Weyoun will. Lovely. Oh, it's very poisonous, but he's genetically engineered to be immune to most toxins, thanks to genetic engineering. Odo is waiting for Kira outside the Bajoran temple on the station. She needed some place to think. She stopped visiting Gnor, but he's the same as every Cardassian. But Odo also read the record. The man was 19 and had only been in the military a year. Odo thinks there's another reason why she stopped visiting, and Kira flashes back to staying at her father's bedside. And when her father asks her to stay, she leaves to get revenge on the Cardassian unit, which basically killed him. Bashir tells Kira that Gnor's condition is worsening and he'll be dead within the hour. I don't really have a lot of jokes for this recap. I'm sorry. Kira is blunt to Bashir, and Bashir is utterly disgusted that she won't attend his bedside as he dies, regardless of his past. He doesn't deserve to die alone. No one does. Last flashback. Kira has returned from the battle, but her father passed away, calling out her name as he died alone. And all Kira can really do is go out and try and kill another raiding party. Later, alone, she digs her grave for her father in the wastelands of occupied Bajor, refusing any help or any kind of priest to give a service. In the present day, Kira returns to Gnor's bedside and sits with him until he passes. As they go over the paperwork together, Kira tells Bashir that she missed her father's death by 1 hour, and she regretted leaving, wanting the chance to not deal with her father's last moments, and that while she was able to give Gnor peace by not letting him die alone, she was able to not flee the death of a father figure a second time and find some peace in that. Now Gnor's dead, Ducat and Weyoun are just going to head out for the day. Thank you very much. Don't call us, we'll call you. Especially since Gnor so conveniently recanted all his crimes on his deathbed. Bullshit! Ducat asks for Gnor's body to be buried on Cardassia Prime with honors, but Kira's already taken the body back to Bajor to be buried alongside the grave of her father. The desolate wasteland of the past now are lush and green.
Oh, that's 2 minutes and 38 seconds. Yeah, so
for our Jeffrey Combs episode of Star Trek,
fun japes with Jeffrey.
You could have chosen us an episode which has more than 2 scenes of Jeffrey Combs giving us antics, unless, I'll be honest, a plot that I'm sure crops up a few times in episodes of MASH.
Yeah. So I was going through the episodes with Jeffrey Combs that we hadn't covered yet, and some of them you can tell easily that there's not much Jeff in it. And this one, there were a number of mentions of him in the recap on Memory Alpha. So I was like, yeah, that looks like a sizable amount of Jeffrey. And it's by Avery Brooks. Hey! It's going to look great. He directs really nicely. And then, it started. And I was like, oh, this is going to be rough. Oh, this is going to be emotionally a bit raw. It is a very well put together episode. At the same time, it could have done with a bit more Weyoun and Golda Cat hanging out, having a jolly on the station while they're mucking around.
I mean, it, like you said, it's a fantastic episode.
Yes.
The fact that I really couldn't find anything, like any kind of fun little side comments to put into the recap is, I feel like a testament, because I can usually undercut most dramatic moments in Star Trek with like a small spoon. But this was really good. It was really difficult to watch in places.
Yes. And I feel quite often DS9 is the one where it's a lot more happy to be uncomfortable in places. And, well done it for doing that. But fucking hell, this was a bit raw.
Yeah. I do want to say the Nara Visitor in this episode, I think she kills it.
Oh my god, yes. Yeah, and it does feel like, even as Dax points out, she has grown. Like, both as a character and as an actor, she's great in this. Um, I loved her getting all excited about shit. It's like, hey, okay,
Hey,
yeah,
it,
she's
it
she's not above all of that. There are things that can get her all like happy and excitable about things. So yeah, that was good. Yeah, it's personally quite rough and quite raw about things. It presents everything in a nicely human way, despite being about a man with kind of weird, bumpy facial prosthetics.
it is there's no like there's no it's all human drama. It's like, okay, this does take place in space against like the machination of empires, like a lot of Deep Space Nine is. But at the end, it really just boils down to Kira's past pain and Kira's current pain as she has to go through the loss of a surrogate father, and it just works because it never feels undercut. I feel like even I feel like Odo and Quark were only in like really in two scenes,
Mm,
both, and who have also known Kira the longest. I feel like both have like fantastic moments. Like there's a scene where Kira is in the bar, visibly exhausted. Quark comes up, offers her a drink, like does the kind of very kind of is a bit sleazy with her, but then when he realizes what she's clearly going through, just offers her some warm milk and is basically saying, "Hey, take this, get some rest."
yeah, yeah. Um, yes, apparently, Robert Hewitt Wolf used his own life experiences with his mother's passing as a key inspiration for this. As he had finals at school and managed to miss her passing by a day, which yeah, like I'm pleased that I was able to be with my mum when she passed, but it is something that I could see, hell, even with that, it's something that sticks with you. Um, and being able to put it on the page again in a sci-fi show and being able to have that fly here and be something that it's like, yeah, we can talk about these kind of things in genre fiction. Um, I feel in a way this is where the 8 to 10 episode seasons often aren't able to do without it being something absolutely massive. Because
Yeah,
this is something I know, Golden Cat and Weyoun 5 are in it, but it's something a lot more small and a lot more personal, and it deserves that.
it's yeah. I mean, the stake. There are the huge major stakes by the end of the episode isn't about it isn't about Gnor's intel, which kind of
Mm,
becomes a MacGuffin. Okay, it's why Ducat and Weyoun 5 are there, but at the end of the day, like the emotional core of the episode is will Kira be with this person in his last moments? Like,
yeah,
can and her basically coming to using that to sort of to come to terms with not being there for her own father.
yeah, and the ending was, again, it wasn't anything massive and revolutionary, but it was nice, and it was a piece of quiet and calm, and yeah, like a kind of good ending for Kira and for Gamor.
It's always nice in like in a big kind of space adventure show where you just allow the characters to sit and talk.
Mm,
I feel it's honestly one of the strengths of Babylon 5, where you can just have a moment where a character just sits and delivers a monologue about who they are, who they were, who they're going to be, and that's equally as important as like the wham bang space adventure.
yeah, Yeah, and for someone fairly guarded like Kira, both having an emotional story arc and seeing yet more of her past, which we saw some of in the trio of episodes that started season 2,
or
it is quite nice to do as well.
or Necessary Evil.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's I think when we first started this show, and we were going over who our favorite characters of each show were, I think I said Odo.
Mm,
I think now it's Kira,
yeah.
because Kira is a character who, there is an issue sometimes with women in fiction, that they're not allowed to be angry, or
Mm,
if they're angry, then they're basically going to be just like labeled the bitch. I feel
yeah.
this is a problem that Skylar from Breaking Bad gets filed under. And I know that Sophie Aldred, who played Ace in the original Doctor Who, said she loved the fact that she could play a character who had all this internalized and externalized anger in the character of Ace, but she's never punished for that anger. Instead, it's the Doctor is trying to teach her how to correctly focus that anger on what needs to be angry. And it's the same with Kira, that she, when we first meet her in Emissary, she's very much, I don't want you to be here. I feel this is a huge political mistake. I hate everything about this. And here she's a lot more relaxed. She's a lot more, she's found some level of peace. But the moment when she's taken back to who she was with the revelations of Gnor's military history, she goes straight back to being that very stubborn, I don't want to do this. I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah. Yeah, and in a way it's almost like a convenience of I don't have to engage with this. I can be angry. That works instead.
I can be angry.
Um,
I can basically claim this on this is, this is my past, and this is, this is the pain of what our people have been through. But it's just, here it's an escape for her.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, aside from the extremely frivolous point, I realised both of Kira's dads have been in Gilmore Girls. I think
I did again like the small scene with her and Odo when he confronts her outside the temple, and again, for Odo, who generally turns out who is usually kind of a blunt tool of a character, it's nice when he's basically subtly going, this is bullshit, deal with your issues, but still in that very kind of Odo like way, where he can't drop who he is, but he can find a way to phrase it to Kira, to basically go, look, you're my friend, do the right thing, it's what you should do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've not seen enough of DS9 with Odo and Worf, but I feel in a way the kind of obvious misread of situation thing feels more like a Worf aspect now at this point. It's like, well, obviously Cardassians and Bajorans wouldn't like each other. It's like, mate, life's more complicated than this. It's fine.
And I like Bashir in this episode as well.
Mm.
Because we are a long far away from the Pratt version of Bashir, who we were getting in the last time we did Deep Space Nine. And it's how the characters have grown, where he's able to push back against Kira.
Mm.
But then he's also in a situation where he is, he's not being that kind of gawky, awkward kid who just wants to, have adventures and everything. He's like, no, no one deserves this.
Yeah. Right. So now we're going on to the difficult part of putting this in our big list of best to worst. This is a list currently comprising 166 episodes, movies, Star Trek things. Our number one spot is Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Our number 50 is Star Trek Prodigy with All the World's a Stage. Our number 100 is Eye of the Beholder from the animated series. 150 is Despite Yourself from Star Trek Discovery. And all the way down at the bottom, of course, at 166, we have Star Trek Section 31. I realise the top part of this list has not moved, given all of our space pregnancy episodes. Okay, so let's see, where's Jutterel? There's a thing with a war. Let's see. A kind of God, lower than I thought. Yeah, that's currently number 96. This is probably higher than that. I
Yeah, I mean,
guess.
yeah.
Like,
I feel like with Dratrell, we have a lot more SF drama. Oh, all those people are killed. I can bring them back, but even though I'm dying. Whereas
yeah.
this is more. I don't know. Like, okay.
It feels like we had a very good performance from Ethan Phillips and the actor of Dratrell. But yeah, this is good directions and sterling performances from everyone. We've got the Andorian incident a couple of spots further up on 94. A previous Jeffrey Combs.
See, I am actually looking. I'm actually looking up further, and I'm looking at number 49, Deep Space Nine's Inquisition.
Ooh. Yeah, again, that's a nice. Okay, and above that we have Sub Rosa in spot number 48. Is this episode and all of the emotions it brings better or worse than the sex candle episode?
Oh, sometimes sometimes in putting on us on a big list, we have built ourselves at times a cross too big for us to bear.
It's some interesting choices.
It's also some. I mean, obviously no. I'm looking up. Okay, number 45.
Oh yeah.
TNG's The Enemy.
Oh, that's so good.
Again,
they're stuck in a hole together.
Yup, and Jakara's there as
Geordie
well.
and a Romulan, and they hate each other, and they're stuck in a hole.
I don't. Do you think this is better than The Enemy?
Oh fuck! The Enemy has some wonderful drama. I think if I was going to watch one of them, I would watch The Enemy over this, but I have a lot of personal emotions tied up in this. Admittedly, I'd probably watch a lot of these before I watch this episode again for again mainly the emotional bleed reasons. Reasons.
Oh man, we have a bunch of DS9 up a bit for like okay. All right, let's try and scale. Okay, do you think? Let's not go with individual episodes.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is in at any point in the 1 to 30? Okay, the 5 to 30 range.
I don't know. I'm seeing 30 is Children of the Comet, which is a beautiful episode. I think
right up, and then right up at that, above that at 29 is A Mock Time.
Yeah,
possibly the most iconic episode of Star Trek.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess heading downwards from there, Devil in the Dark, which is a delightful episode of the original series. I guess Forget Me Not is yet another kind of traumatic episode in some ways. I think this is probably better than Forget Me Not.
Okay, and then what about then at number 32, The Hope That Is You Part 1, where Michael's trapped in the grim dark future?
Oh, it's so grim. I don't know, I do like that episode. But then, I mean, that can be said about a number of them below this anyway.
Yeah, it's like, I would happily watch Sub Rosa again. Again, probably more than this one, but, for personal reasons.
So yeah, I mean, as much as I like The Hope That Is You Part 1, this is probably better quality
Yeah.
overall than it.
All right, I am good with that.
Okay. So let's get moving it into place in its new home in spot number 32 on the big list. So, our second episode brings us all the way forward in time to 2003, specifically the 12th of February 2003, for Enterprise, Season 2, Episode 15, titled Cease Fire. This was written by Chris Black, directed by David Strayton. The UK number one hit was Tattoo, with All the Things She Said, and the US has Jennifer Lopez featuring Ladies Love Cool James with All I Have. Now, I have an anecdote about Tattoo.
I do have a question though.
Yeah.
Given that you tend to watch the music videos for the songs, did your partner come in while you were watching the music video for the song, and you had to quickly go, "No, it's not what you think. I am watching it for a podcast."
We were both watching the episode, the video, so no, there was no hiding this one. Yeah, so I studied librarianship, and I it turns out librarians can really put a drink away, and a library studies gathering at one of their places out in Woodingdean, it got quite raucous. I managed to drink too much whiskey, and then the whiskey ran out and turned to tequila instead, and managed to lose a game of magnetic darts to a child where she had to hit for bullseye and I had to hit the board, and I still managed to lose. So I wasn't going anywhere. I was crashing there, and the husband of the library student had a giant cardboard cutout of Lara Croft in the downstairs toilet, and the lounge / his office had several like A4 printouts of Tattoo on the walls, and we hit the point of eating dry toast and drinking tequila at God knows what in the morning, with him explaining about he loved his wife so much, and that's why he can have Tattoo all over the walls, because she knew that he loved her, even with Lara Croft in the loo and Tattoo on the walls. And yeah, that's a scar that that's stuck in my memory whenever I smell tequila now.
I think you have told the tale before for the podcast, but it was back when we did oh, hang on.
Oh God, yes.
Yes. Yeah. So I think you told us for
Christmas, no
episode.
less.
Yes. But it's okay. It's been a couple of years, so it's fine.
Sorry, folks. This is what happens when you're getting older.
I'm still surprised that somehow this was the number one again.
2 weeks in a row.
No, but Ceasefire is the second season of Enterprise, and
yeah, Future Tense is the second season of Enterprise.
Oh, okay.
This is literally the episode before Future Tense.
Okay, in my defense, it's very hot in here. It's very hot right now, and so I'm hallucinating, and I'm not wearing my glasses, so I think I saw Future Tense as a Series 1 episode.
No.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense, because the horrifying idea would be Tattoo was really popular over the course of a year, and there's not much performative lesbianism that would be that popular in early 2000s England.
Not for that long, no. Yeah, and Jennifer Lopez featuring LL Cool J, All I Have, is one of the more forgettable Jennifer Lopez tracks.
Does the LL really stand for Ladies Love Cool J, or did you just...
Yes, Ladies Love Cool James. Did you not know this?
No, I
Okay.
didn't. This is wow. Okay, we're done. I quit.
Well, now you know.
Oh my god, I'm not coming off well in this episode.
That's right. It's all right. It's been warm. You know, I've only got one window open here and no fan going, so I'm sure the heat delirium will get to me soon enough.
I mean, for the purposes of the audience, I usually record in my little office setup in my bedroom, but because of where the sun is at this time of morning, yeah, no, that's not happening. So instead, I'm recording this in my living room. The cats are being incredibly well behaved. Gotta give it to the kitties. I've not got the AC on because I didn't want it to sound recording, and my blinds are closed, so I am in the dark.
Yeah, I'm stupidly bright here as my workroom catches the sun, specifically at this time of night. Well, this time of afternoon. But I have had a fab ice lolly and have a bottle of water. So for now, I'm all right.
Okay, that's good because you know what you got to do. You got to for 2.5 minutes. You will have.
What?
It's an animated. Oh wait, no. God, no. Sorry, I'm doing lower decks later.
Oh, phew! I'm probably not making 5 minutes, let alone 2.5. Okay.
I think the title. I think the title for this episode is "Miles Has Heat Stroke."
Yeah.
All right, Charlie, you have 5 minutes to recap this episode of Star Trek Enterprise, which has far more Jeffrey Combs and and a fantastic theme tune.
I wouldn't go that far.
Charlie, I have a challenge for you. Just came up with it. I will give you an extra minute for the recap if you can sing the theme tune for Enterprise.
So 5 minutes, then.
5 minutes. Okay. Charlie, you're a moral coward, and you have 5 minutes. Yeah. Go.
I am indeed. So we zoom in on some Andorians. They're in a wrecked building. It's under attack, and here's Jeff. He's playing Shran again, and the Vulcans are fighting them. And there's only one person Shran trusts to help him with peace talks for a ceasefire. It's his BFF, Captain Archer. Oh boy. Archer's surprised to hear that he's got to help with a dispute over a planet that the Vulcans call Pan Moxar and the Andorians call Weyoun. More surprising is the Andorians are the ones who asked for him. Whatever's up, Starfleet's just happy to be involved. T'Pol explains the planet was settled by Andorians and was so near to Vulcan space. They concluded that logically the only reason was to make a military base, so they had them removed. The Andorians have now returned, and now the girlies are fighting. The Vulcans are very unhappy with Archer since that whole Andorian incident in our last Jeff episode. They want a Vulcan sitting in on the peace talks, and handily, he's got T'Pol here to help, so she'll do. Phlox chats with Archer, who reckons this is all really useful, a part of becoming a wider space community, like a federation, but of planets. On the shuttle down, T'Pol's tutting that Archer only skimmed the 1,200 pages of prep on the Vulcan side of the talks, and says the Vulcans are betting against him. When they land, they're in a war zone. They walk around, Vandorians running around in the background like little scamps out of view. Then, woof, they're surrounded. They're taken to Shran. The Vulcans are saying the Andorians are illogical and too aggressive, and they won't listen to anything they say. As Archer handled previous interactions without prejudice, Shran reckons he'll help out. They show off the Vulcan hostages, who are currently unharmed. And T'Pol says that the Andorians broke the compromise by being here. And Shran's like, no, this was our place first, which is technically correct. That said, he will speak to Ambassador Saval. He sends 2 hostages back with Archer and T'Pol as a gesture of good faith. Saval hates this plan, thinks it legitimizes the Andorians' position. And Archer says, well, at least the Andorians are willing to try something, unlike you jerks. Ball's in your court now. then have to explain what ball in a court means. Fine, Suval will go down to the planet with Archer. Back down there, Shran's telling his lot to treat the Vulcans with respect, and his second in command, a tall Andorian woman called Talar, doesn't believe this is going to work. She wants to attack them instead, but no, not yet. She's obviously going to be trouble. The shuttle gets shot down. Oh no! Luckily, there's a handy runway in a rubbly street for them to crash into. Suval suggests finding the Vulcan military camp that's nearby, and Archer's like, nope, we're going to Shran's camp. Suval hates this plan. Up on the Enterprise, the Vulcans have detected weapons fire and are looking for Suval. Trip wants in on the rescue mission. They're not keen on that idea, but they will hover ominously. Also, Andorian ships are only 3 hours away. Oh, it's all so tense. Shran's pissed off with Tala as she's obviously shot the shuttle down. She blames it on the Vulcans instead, and Shran says, no, but, I'm giving you a chance. Bring them in alive. Don't give the Vulcans an excuse to attack. Archer and the group are immediately shot at. Suval's hit. They duck behind cover and the snipers ignore any requests to hold fire because we're here for diplomacy. Archer sneaks around, does a little roll, climbs up a ladder and punches a sniper out. The other shooter is, of course, Tala. Try not to faint in surprise. Archer asks why she's trying to undermine Shran and she calls him a coward. They have a big fight, he punches her out, then he's caught by Shran. Tala tries to sell her a dodgy version of events. It's obvious bullshit. Shran's unsure, and Suval asks if everyone here follows his goals. We can literally see Shran looking at Tala and flashing back to every interaction they've had, where she's like, no, we should kill them. And, Tala, of course, goes all mask off, is taken away. Shran and Suval have a lot to chat about. Archer hails the ship to say everything's fine, which is great because things have got really tense with the Enterprise physically between Vulcan and Andorian ships. Cut forward. Suval's started the talks. It's difficult, but it's going on, and that's the main thing. Let's all celebrate a compromise that we can agree on, even if no one likes it.
Oh.
I
just want to say that Tala has the most soccer mom haircut.
Oh, God, yeah.
My God, she has definitely complained about her order at Starbucks.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And why are you keeping my kid? Why are you keeping George in reserve? He should be out there.
Yeah.
Not your kids. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
go.
Yeah. So Vulcans don't drink, but they're gonna have some Andorian booze to celebrate just this time. Suval mentions that Archer's presence wasn't overly meddlesome. Shran says, hey, I think that means Suval likes him. Oh, Shran. And we all laugh.
24 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, I'm guessing that there are a bunch of Shran Archer shippers out there.
I am sure.
There have got to be. Like, these two are great fun.
Yeah.
The fact that Archer is kind of perplexed by Shran picking him to help out with this. And Shran like, yeah, obviously, it makes sense. Like, yeah, we've been on opposing sides a bunch of times, but he gets the job done.
Again, Shran is what Core clearly wanted to be with Kirk.
100%, definitely. And it's interesting seeing Jeffrey Combs playing a serious character who is not also a weird little freak.
Yeah.
Although I did have to quickly check on IMDb what his height was, seeing him and Tara next to each other. Because, she's, I think, 6 foot and he's 5'7". And originally I was like, oh my God, is Jeffrey Combs really a weird little freak? And it's like, no, he's fairly average freak. It's fine.
Gosh, with the plot of this episode, I'm sure glad that Star Trek isn't political and that, this is not aging poorly in the times in which we live.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Is this going to be all bubbers? it's interesting seeing these early days for Federation or pre-Federation for Vulcans being able to be used in a negative light.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, they earn it, and it rather than having them go, oh yes, they're logical and therefore correct in all things. It's like, yeah, they're logical, which led them to some really shit presumptions.
They're logical, which makes them arrogant jerks.
Yeah, and sometimes they're good, but in this case, ooh, so many dodgy ideas.
And you have the bit where Saval's like, DePaul, you could come back. This is, you hanging out with Jonathan Archer, is starting to affect you in strange ways.
God, hanging out with Jeffrey Archer would be so much worse.
I mean, originally he was going to be Jeffrey Archer. Then someone rightfully said, no.
Don't.
No, don't. You're going to get killed in England.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that he was even like, DePaul, you're getting a bit of a human accent. It's like, yeah, of course we don't notice this. Yeah, it's like I have an Australian friend, Beck, who, when she'd been living here for a while, her relatives would be like, yeah, she's sounding really British. It does not at all, but sure, to your ears, maybe.
I know nothing about having an accent in a different country and having people
really, of course,
all the time. Never. I never get asked all the time, are you Australian?
It's all right. I just long for, like, I live for the days that I can laugh when you say something like restroom or sidewalk.
Oh my god, it's still embarrassing. I still think back to that one comment your friend says, which is, the longer the episode runs, the more Brighton Miles starts to sound again.
Oh, both of us, but yeah. it's good. Yeah, you can hear the seagulls in the background as it goes on. I enjoyed this episode. It's like, it's one of those things where we're at the early aughts, so we're getting a lot of inexpensive sets and some slightly ropey CG, but it was still a nice location for it. Archer, we get to see well-meaning Archer.
Yeah,
this isn't scarred by the space war on Terra. He's out of his depth, but still trying to do good, and that is what I like in it.
This is Scott Bakula at his most Scott Bakula-ness.
Definitely. Yeah. And yeah, Gary Graham was good fun as Saval as well. He was a good antagonist, even if he's not, like, directly against the cast. He's still the person they're playing off of.
He's the antagonist, I suppose. Along with Soccer Mom. See, I thought it was going to be that the Vulcan second in command was going to be responsible for, like, shooting him down, trying to kill Saval, because the moment he turned up, he just had, like, Ronan vibe all about him. But given that in, like, the Andorian incident, it turned out that the Vulcans were actually in the wrong. You can't really go to that well too many times.
No, he did have that vibe of, yeah, he would shoot everyone here down in a moment's notice, given half a chance. But luckily, just short of that.
He would commit a war crime logically.
Exactly, a very logical war crime. Yeah. Tara was Susie Plaxon, who's another person that's been in a ton of shows, Star Trek wise. I think, annoyingly, this episode means that we've probably not got enough different Star Treks to do an episode specifically on her, but we may still be able to if we just double up. I liked the bit of action as well. It did feel very much like, here is the 30 seconds of action of, like, like Jonathan Archer's gonna crawl about and do a roll.
Man, I don't think modern Star Trek has enough people doing a roll.
No, it's like the double hand punch You know, we need more people doing the double hand punch as well.
Like we need proper it's like I do like whenever like a fight breaks out in the classic series where it's just like right long shot stunt doubles go. Wait, did we block this? No, just throw punches.
Yeah, just go at it. It's fine. Like we know that Kirk's supposed to win. Just all of you have fun.
Yup. Just is there a wall you can just kind of propel yourself off of?
Ideally, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Most for sets cardboard. You'll be fine.
Yeah. But yeah, like I enjoy. It's always nice to see a good episode of Voyager.
Of Enterprise.
Of Enterprise. Well, that too.
Yes. Yeah. I've been liking some of these Enterprises we've had. Like even as ropey as many issues as there were with last episode's one with Unexpected, it was still fun. Like it wasn't tedious, which is kind of where I gave up on Enterprise 10 episodes in back when I first saw it. God, if that. Wow. But yes, yeah, and I'm quite pleased that we'll see more of Shran as it goes on as well. I think he's only just in double figures episode-wise in Enterprise, but luckily it's not a long show, so that'll be a nice percentage of it.
I wonder how much of antenna acting that they planned for.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. A lot of the antenna moving independently, which was weird, but fine.
I don't know. I always think of like the live action tick shows where the tick's antenna are like a nice little kind of like indication of his mood.
Yeah. I admit this is only our second episode with Shran and Enterprise Andorians, so I've not paid enough attention to see if the antenna relate to the mood, but hopefully in time we'll figure that out.
But do you know what we have to figure out right now?
Where it sits on this big old list.
Okay, right. Out of curiosity, what is our highest ranked Enterprise?
Oh no. Going down. Number 65 with North Star, I think.
Wait, really? Hang on, no. Where's Carbon Creek? I thought Carbon
77 for Carbon Creek.
That's a surprise. I really like Carbon Creek.
Yeah. I mean, it is a top-heavy list. I think Carbon Creek is probably still better than this. Let's see. Couple further down, we of course have Genesis at 79.
That's TNG. Enterprise at 80 with observation effect, where Reed and Mayweather get taken over by Organians. Okay.
So, let's see. Oh god, actually, yeah, going further down from that, there's Whom Gods Destroy at 83 with Garth of Izar's glam rock band.
Which also had some Andorans in, if I remember.
It does. It does have one Andorian who, I don't know, bassist? Maybe?
Drummer. Drummer.
I was thinking the Tellarite for the drummer, but yeah, maybe.
No, you see, the Tellarite's on Triangle.
Nice.
Okay, so is this better than Whom Gods Destroy? I mean,
probably not. Like, I like Whom Gods Destroy. It's got a lot of fun in it. Like, this is good, but
all right, okay. At number 92, we have Unification 3, which is Discovery Season 3, Episode 7.
Yeah, strangely comparable in some ways, given both are about Vulcans and their issues. I think I prefer this to Unification 3.
Yeah, alright. And then above Unification at number 91, we have TNG's Hide and Q, where Riker gets godlike powers, and no, really, they thought Wesley was going to grow up to look like that.
Yeah, he turned Wesley into a hunk.
He turned Wesley into Fabio.
Oh no. Was this what Riker thought that Wesley would look like when he's older, or was it what Wesley thought Wesley would look like when he's older?
I think Riker was like, I can improve on this.
Yeah, exactly. Hiding Q's all right.
I think Hiding Q just still has that early TNG kind of awkwardness where they've not worked it out yet. Although Wesley getting the point is always amusing.
It is. Okay, so what? Better than Hiding Q?
Yeah.
Okay, next we've got Rutherford versus past Rutherford in Lower Decks Reflections. Oh god, and I Excretus just above that for another Lower Decks one.
I enjoy I Excretus. I can't remember much about Reflections.
I think, I was thinking possibly between them.
Whereas there's a ton in I Excretus which I do enjoy, which is the various hologram programs. And Boimler's attempts to platinum the Borg simulation.
Oh god. Yeah. So terrible. But yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm good with putting them between those. So, there we go. There's that. So, our final episode of the night is Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4, Episode 7, titled A Few Badgeys More. This aired on the 12th of October 2023, written by Edgar Monplaisir and directed by Bob Suarez. The UK #1 hit was Kenya Grace with Strangers, and the US Doja Cat with Paint the Town Red. Now, I know we've covered both of these before, because they were in my search history on YouTube, and I had no memory of either of them.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, I've got very little memory of them now. Paint the Town Red was...
I mean, then, as it comes with lots of the modern songs we cover in the show, we're too old, and it's not Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, basically that. Well done, them. Yeah, so, you know what else isn't Ed Sheeran?
The Mountain Goats.
Oh, yeah, my partner has started to become a wrestling person, and as such, that's got me re-listening to Beat the Champ, which is that and the Worldwide Wrestling role-playing game are the only ways I have any wrestling knowledge.
Beat the Champ's a great album.
So good.
You know what's also not Ed Sheeran? Churches.
Yeah. I mean, you're just describing good musicians when you need to be recapping A Few Badgeys More. So
fine, I'll do the job. Jeez.
Yeah, do the job, and then we can listen to some Church and Mountain Goats and begin.
Deep in space, there's a blown-up ship and possibly some blown-up chunks of shacks as well. They never did elaborate how he came back from the dead after being blown up at the end of Season 1. A Drukmani ship picks up Rutherford's old implant, complete with a badgie. Rutherford's chipper and psychotic training program son, and with the promises of the riches of Federation tech, Badgie implants himself right in the lead Drokani's face. Meanwhile, a Binar ship is attacked and seemingly destroyed. This is part of the whole Season 4 story arc. But Badgie sees this, and they can use this. Meanwhile, fucking Peanut Hamper is up for parole at the Daysum Institute, and Tendi has been asked to be present at the parole hearing. Boimler is also going too, because AGIMUS is claiming to have intel on the attacks. But as they work together, growing tomatoes at Daystrom, AGIMUS and fucking Peanut Hamper plan of escape. The Cerritos arrives at the wreckage of the Binar ship, and the Drukmani ship arrives, and Badgie greets his father. On Earth, AGIMUS is brought to Boimler, who immediately doesn't trust him. AGIMUS mentions that he has drones all around the quadrant, but he needs to physically interact with the drones to get the full intel. But also, you can trust AGIMUS. He has a blue light now instead of a red light, and that light does look pretty blue. The Cerritos is under fire since Badgey has full codes to bypass all their shield frequencies. Rutherford wants to get beamed over to sacrifice himself, but the captain won't allow it. So Rutherford just does it anyway, and then Mariner comes along for support because Mariner clearly always wants to inject herself into the middle of everything, and she thinks that Rutherford has a plan. Rutherford doesn't have a plan, but what he does have is a great big hug for Badgey, who starts glitching out. Like me when I get hugged by total strangers, because this is America, and Americans like to hug. Boimler and Tendi shuttle off with AGIMUS. Turns out fucking Peanut Hamper's hearing was perfect, and she was released. AGIMUS releases some mini-drones and take over the shuttle, his blue light turning red. He was evil. Damn your obvious betrayal. Rutherford apologizes for treating Badgey like a science experiment, and Badgey, so obsessed with killing Rutherford for so long, is unable to accept his own performance.
That's, but carry on, anyway.
And splits into two, regular Badgey and a silver good Badgey, who we're going to call Goodgie. At the planned rendezvous point, a nice little beach, fucking Peanut Hamper has betrayed AGIMUS and left her behind. Tendi can break through hers and Boimler's restraints, but Boimler would rather play along and get the intel he needs. Tendi, meanwhile, has been happily building a sandcastle. Tendi is the best. And takes some of the sand as they decide to follow fucking Peanut Hamper's trail. Badgey gains access to the Cerritos system and starts filling the ship with toxic gas. If he can't kill Rutherford, he'll kill all of Rutherford's friends. Rutherford appeals to logic. Revenge won't get Badgey anything, and Badgey realizes that he's wasting his life and quickly deactivates the gas. But Badgey doesn't want to be logical and splits off a third Badgey, the logical logically. Badgey, slowly falling off the sanity train, is now planned to kill everyone in the Federation. Rutherford, have you ever considered that you might be too good at your job? Rutherford regrets treating Badgey like a science project, but vows to keep trying to talk him down. Logically has a plan and starts merging back into Badgey. AGIMUS' drones have conquered a planet. Although Boimler's not concerned, it'll take Starfleet about an hour to sort it out. But AGIMUS is feeling no satisfaction in it since fucking Peanut Hamper isn't here to share in the conquest with him. Tendi tracks fucking Peanut Hamper to a distant research station. Badgey kills logically, and Badgey succeeds in uploading himself into the entirety of the Federation's computer systems, making himself, in effect, a digital god! The research station is filled with exocomps, including fucking Peanut Hamper and fucking Peanut Hamper's dad. AGIMUS confronts fucking Peanut Hamper, despondent that fucking Peanut Hamper betrayed him. But as much as she valued their friendship, she generally realized that she actually wanted to change her ways and be good, but hadn't told AGIMUS because she liked hanging out with her. They realized that they can be friends without taking over planets, and she introduces him to her father. AGIMUS is still going back to prison, though. Badgey uploads himself across the Federation, has become a powerful god being, and can destroy the Federation. But in achieving such scale, he has actually become a god and now realizes that his actions were kind of meaningless. Instead, he's going to ascend to an empty dimension and hang out with a koala. He leaves this dimension behind. The day is saved, but Goodgie stays behind. AGIMUS is happy to return to Daystrom. He wants to get redeemed and get released so he can move in with fucking Peanut Hamper. He gives Boimler the data he needs. The ships aren't being destroyed, they're being stolen. Back on the Cerritos, everyone is horrified by the fact that Rutherford brought Goodgie with him. Yeah, they're just gonna leave.
So, that is 2 minutes and 59 seconds. So, I too like the ending of All-Star Superman, where Lex Luthor gets cosmically aware and realizes, oh shit, actually, maybe I shouldn't do all of this evil stuff.
You see, I was thinking of this season episode of Doctor Who Lux, where the Doctor fights a god made of living light and defeats him by giving him so much sunlight he becomes godlike in scale and just kind of dissipates throughout the universe to become everything.
I wonder how many things he's done that to.
He's 4.
So it's a bit busy out there, but you know, it's fine. They're all dissipated. It's all right.
It's like the amount of ancient godlike aliens which have actually secretly influenced Earth's history and development across the ages. And you're just like, wow, we couldn't have done anything without like 6 or 7 different alien species having a hand in our evolution.
It may be so many of them have interfered that it all just kind of evens out.
Probably.
Yeah. I only realised because I've seen Lower Decks is one of the only treks I've seen literally all of, but it took me until this watching of it to realise it was Kenneth the Page, Jack McBrayer playing Badgie, Goodgie, and Logicy. I don't know what it was about this one, but I was like, oh my god, that's terrifying. Kenneth the Page is exactly the right, like, pitch perfect casting for the psychotic Badgie.
Isn't Kenneth the Page already a godlike being?
I mean, some kind of weird ageless entity, yes.
Is this the first episode of Lower Decks which we've done on the show where the koala has been referred to?
Yes. I think so. Yeah, also this is the first one that Badgie's referred to. I think it's only the second appearance of Badgie, but yeah, that'll be a whole thing soon enough. Oh, and good news, Miles. There is only one more Peanut Hamper episode after this one.
And that's the first one, where Shax blew up and died.
Yeah, we're kind of traveling backwards in time through through Peanut Hamper.
God. As always, Jeffrey Combs is a delight.
Yes. Oh my god, he is the perfect person to be AGIMUS, and you can feel him having fun being just a complete super villainous weirdo. I'm still tickled by the Daystrom Institute and all of those evil robots.
I love that the Daystrom Institute is basically treated as regular prison for AIs, and they have there's computer. I think my favorite one was the gym, where it's just a bunch of block computers playing basketball somehow.
Yeah. If I was a proper PC gamer kind of person, I would love to try and get my PC looking like AGIMUS. Ideally with a way of switching between red and blue, because at the moment it does have lighting in it, but it's all red. I guess that means my PC's evil. Yeah. I love how easily everyone was convinced about AGIMUS as well. Well, that is a blue light.
I don't know. I get the feeling that Boylan was just kind of playing along.
Maybe.
Because Boylan comes in, he's just like, nah, I don't trust it. And then the moment AGIMUS betrays him, he's just like, yeah, nah, I don't really, I don't believe you.
I know the official stance of this podcast is fuck Peanut Hamper. There was something kind of charming about the friendship between AGIMUS and Peanut Hamper, and of course they let each other down.
Yeah, I mean it's as much as I fucking hate Peanut Hamper, it's their friendship is nice and it's sweet, and I love how just AGIMUS just kind of is utterly despondent when he realizes that fucking Peanut Hamper, up until the point, it's the bit where he's in the throne. And he just something in his back just tilts him off the throne, so he can faceplant on the floor completely depressed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're Jeffrey Combs, you know the roles that you're hired for. You know how to be, how people want you to be, and he is peak Jeffrey here.
I think the most serious role I've seen Jeffrey Combs in is he plays the medic Ratchet in Transformers Robots in Disguise. And there is a moment where the little freak comes out for a comedic subplot in one episode, but I think that's the most kind of serious I've seen him in.
Wow.
Maybe the live action Guyver movie where he has a small supporting role. And of course, he's the Question in Justice League Unlimited, where he plays a little freak.
Yes, yeah, a glorious freak,
a glorious freak who somehow manages to get into a relationship with Huntress, and there is a moment where he actively plans to kill Lex Luthor by killing him with his tie.
Yeah, he's very good fun in Justice League Unlimited.
There's a bit where he's worried that Superman is going to go corrupt and kill Lex Luthor and become the Justice Lords. And the question's solution to this is, I'm just going to kill Luthor myself. The Justice League can just go, yeah, he's a little freak. He just went rogue, and Superman's reputation gets preserved. I'm just going to kill Luthor with my tie. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Oh god, actually, yeah, looking at my notes, rather than the Lex Luthor realizing, kind of gaining cosmic awareness, I do have written down from when I was watching it, Badgie is a Dominion, which, like, I guess. So, for those that haven't read or don't remember the Krakoa era of X-Men, there's a whole cosmic thing in the Powers of X where you get pockets of artificial intelligence that absorb other ones and other ones and other ones, and they become bigger. They become a phalanx, which people who remember the Phalanx Covenant will remember. They become a Magus, and eventually they transcend time itself by kind of inhabiting black holes and becoming this non-linear consciousness, this dominion. And yeah, in a way, Badgie has kind of become that. So yeah, hopefully he won't become evil again while existing in all of time and space.
Tuesdays happen.
Yeah, yeah. It was interesting seeing the Binars, who are, I want to say, a season 1 Star Trek Next Generation.
They're a season 1. This is a good, like, I feel there are very few bad episodes of Lower Decks. Marina's just kind of there because Marina has to throw herself into the situation for Marina to do something. Tendi,
well, yeah.
I think the best scene is Tendi just excited to build a sandcastle.
Yeah, I liked that it was, Tendi and Boimler both having to go to the Daystrom Institute, and both of their kind of mutual issues with their respective artificial intelligences that they were having to deal with the shit of. It was a nice time.
It's always kind of weird with seeing Boimler and Tendi kind of together on stuff, because like you see the various like kind of group dynamic kind of like when they pair, and it always seemed like Boimler and Tendi are the ones who are in a larger friend group, but together you're just kind of like, why do we hang out?
Yeah, I think in a way there are a number of similarities between the two of them, which might overlap a little. Like, both of them are very on mission for actually getting the job done, and that's not going to be as fun as disrupting it with Mariner.
Yeah.
And when Tendi and Rutherford are together, they're just a pair of glorious weirdos.
Yep. I always want to say one thing, and that's about the koala.
Oh yes,
because I honestly think the koala is one of the funnier weird jokes from Lower Decks. So of course you get those people, you get those Star Trek fans who have no sense of humor, and like, oh, I hope they explain the koala to be like Q or something. It's like, no, let there be like a cosmic space koala.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need to explain the joke, just that the joke exists. Like, there is an omnipresent godlike koala outside of time in the Star Trek universe. You know what that is? That's delightful. That's fun.
Yes.
It's silly. We can be silly.
There are so many cosmic entities, so many things out there who say there isn't a koala.
Yeah, maybe a random koala just ascended to godlike being because it achieved the pinnacle of koalaness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, our previous experience with AGIMUS is currently at spot number 76, with Where Pleasant Fountains Lie. With that, we've got our weird LARP ship, and Billups having to deal with his
mother,
trying to get him Yeah, trying to get him laid.
And
And
where is Peanut Hamper on the big list?
oh god, I mean, pretty low down.
161, a mathematically perfect redemption. Only 7 steps removed from Section 31, the movie, our lowest ranking, and will be lowest ranking for quite some time. If anyone would like to kind of give a counter argument to why the Section 31 movie is good, actually, please. Just, we want to. Inquiring minds would like to know.
Hmm.
I mean, I would like to.
Or alternatively, if you want to find something much worse than that, to see if it can displace Section 31 at the bottom, pay us. Go to our Ko-fi and pay us, and then tell us which episode it is.
I mean, let's be honest. I'd rather deal with the weird Section 31 bros, which I'm sure exist, more than I would want to do with the Snyderverse.
Oh, yeah. So, let's see. So what? We've got... I don't know, like, where pleasant fountains lie, while the LARP ship and the AGIMUS stuff are quite separate, it's still good fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, which do you think is better?
God. I mean...
Like, I think... I don't know. I think I preferred the set... I think I preferred Where Present Fountains Lie, because you have the parts where Boimler is pretending to cozy up to Mariner. No, sorry, pretending to cozy up to AGIMUS, and Mariner is just kind of being Mariner. And we do have Boimler just stunning Mariner because he's playing a game.
True.
And I think I do like that in regards of Boimler's character development, where he does start to kind of grow his own. He does start to grow a backbone and push back against Marinerness.
I mean, still very much in a Boimler way.
Yeah. Where he...
Okay.
And so here, I feel like we've reached a point in Lower Decks where the characters have developed enough where we could just let it kind of play out. Where, Boimler is now experienced enough where he's still at times the excitable little weirdo he is in the earlier seasons, but he's grown sufficiently where he's just where before, when AGIMUS takes over the planet, that like season 1 Boyle would be freaking out about how he screwed up massively and has jeopardized his job. And here he's genre savage enough to go, yeah, this will take Starfleet an hour to set up tops. It's no biggie.
Okay. Let's see. A bit lower down at 82, we have The Stars at Night, which has all of the drone warfare and Shax's second best day.
Again, oh man,
and that feels like, despite being Lower Decks, it still has some fun drama to it.
It's got some fun drama. It has a lot of good character stuff. I don't know. I think The Stars at Night, like, they're both really good, but I feel like, I would go with The Stars at Night over this one. Because, again, a lot of stuff happens. You get a lot of nice character moments. You have Shax's second best day, which might be one of the best scenes in all of Lower Decks.
Okay, I think I've got a potentially interesting one to do here. It's so in 84 we've got Caves, which I think is better than this.
Yep.
But 85 has the Empath.
Oh.
With some fun nonsense.
There is some fun nonsense in the slow-mo acting, but for me it's the scene with McCoy where Kirk plans to sacrifice himself. Spock knocks out Kirk so Spock can sacrifice himself, and McCoy goes, you see, I planned that this situation would one day happen, so I would automatically have enough to knock out Spock, so I can sacrifice myself for Spock and Kirk.
Oh my god.
which
They'll
I admit is worth it just for that one scene.
okay. As West Silence has lease under that with the
Big
like
face and
ominous presence.
big face.
Yeah.
That one's good, but like I don't know. What do you think?
I mean that one's bleak, but yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, maybe below that then with 87 with Captain's Holiday, which was fine. It's Picard on his
it,
holiday.
it's Captain Picard's sexy bald head,
It is
but yeah, I think that this episode is better than Captain's Holiday.
cool. So that puts this at number 87. So, yeah, with that, we have ranked 3 whole episodes. So that's us done and going back in the stasis tubes for another fortnight. In fact, we're going to need to get ourselves ready, good and drunk for the next episode because it is episode 69. It's time to lose those inhibitions. It's time to get drunk on polywater. And yeah, it's going to be naked time. Wait, sorry, I'm just checking my notes. We're talking about the episode Naked Time.
Charlie, we're both British. There's no way we can lose that many of our inhibitions.
No. I mean, who knows? We may be able to rope some Americans in to do that for us.
I mean,
then.
if the heat continues in 2 weeks' time, we might just both be sitting on our laptops naked.
True. Okay. Well, with that horrifying image, where can people find you, Mars?
They can find me on my blog at mareadlabato.wordpress.com, or they can find me very rarely at marsreadlabato.bsky.social for on my social media Blue Sky account. They can't find me on Facebook because I've removed the Facebook app from my phone and I nuked my Twitter account long ago.
Nice. So I've found how to change my Blue Sky profile to a another website. So both my RPG and comic material and my Blue Sky account are skyshark.itch.io. And yeah, I've recently released a playbook for the Umbrella Academy inspired Molotov College. It's based on Wolfsbane, who was a charmingly naive child who would turn into a wolf and became kind of a bit of a flop as an adult. So it's a playbook called The Devil that is basically about all of that.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm also on Faked Tales for my blog and Who Dares Rolls for my game reviews.
I also recently on my blog, I recently posted I'll be honest, a long form ramble about my opinions on the finale for the current season of Doctor Who. How disappointing I found it, and how there's quite a few problems with the RTD2 era of Doctor Who, which was still present in RTD era 1 of Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I admit I was a little wary when he was first brought on board, and sadly, like up until the finale, I was like, "Yeah, this is all great.
Yeah,
this is good." There's a lot to here, but
like I was kind of wary with Russell T Davies coming back, because there is the feeling of, okay, we've now set ourselves up a precedent that if the Doctor Who if there's a problem with Doctor Who the show, that we're going to go back to like when it was good and not actually try and make a good show. But at the same time, it's been 20 years for the modern show, and as much as I have enjoyed the modern era of Doctor Who, there are still a lot of problems I have with the modern era of Doctor Who, and I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. with the state of it all, and I feel being linked to a streaming service is not going to help.
No.
Oh well. Yes, still, until next time, go do a Starfleet.
And don't inject anybody with green goo to bring them back to life.
No, that never works out well.
Instead, have a jelly baby.
Green flavour.
You have been listening to Casual Trek, a Nerd and Tie podcast, presented by Charlie Etheridge Nunn and Miles Reed Labato. Music by Alfred Etheridge Nunn. Edited by the hosts and by Rhianna Reed Labato. Star Trek is owned by Paramount. Not us. Not yet.